Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We would like to thank our Decatur High School JROTC for posting our colors this morning and our national anthem by our very own Major Janice Ivory, retired United States Air Force. Let's give them a hand. Now we will have our invocation by the chairman of the board, the Reverend Dr. Wayman Dwayne Williams, and followed by the introduction of our CEO, the Honorable Burrell Ellis.
Everybody just bow your heads or close your eyes or however you want to communicate with our Creator. Dear God, thank you so much for bringing us together again under great leadership, one DeKalb coming together to honor our nation's military who've given their last measure of devotion to country, county, and community. God, we know that you are going to bless our leadership all the way from our president through our Congress, all the way down through our county leadership. And we thank you for your leadership in us. In your great name, we pray. Amen. Please be seated. The very good thing that we do have to do is we need to give our flowers to those of us who are still living while we can still smell them. Even though we're memorializing those who've given the last measure of their devotion, basically for their brother or sister or for their neighbor, we're also recognizing those who can still smell their flowers. Today, again, it's about memorializing our military veterans, and one of the ways of honoring our war dead is to do everything that we can do for our current greatest generation who are living now. We have a leader who has been doing that in the third largest county in the state of Georgia. Because we know when everyone is doing better, veterans are doing better. And that's the greatest memorial that we can provide to our war dead to make things better right now. Some of the sacrifice our veterans have made has been in their minds, their health, their dignity. And we've been fortunate to have a leader who has acted as a voice for those same veterans through partnerships with other government leaders to enhance our quality of life, focusing on transportation, restoring neighborhoods, and infrastructure improvements. All of these things improve the lives of our veterans. And through these efforts, we've also seen this same great leader enhance the business environment in DeKalb County to make DeKalb County the first choice for businesses to locate and grow, another thing that benefits our veterans. As a diverse DeKalb County, we are working together, we're succeeding together, and we're creating a great place to live, work, and play, which is a great memorial to those veterans who've gone on before. Yeah, we want our flowers while we can see them. And I am pleased to introduce a man who has been a catalyst for the very idea of government made up of businesses, communities, and neighborhoods working together towards a brighter tomorrow, something that benefits our veterans. I want to introduce our veterans advocate, Mr. W. Burrell Ellis, Jr.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. I want to thank Reverend Dr. Williams for that very glowing introduction. To call me a veterans advocate is quite a high honor, and particularly at this time and on this day when we celebrate those veterans who have fallen and those veterans who continue to serve, who have earned the right to get their flowers while they're living. I just want to give my personal debt of gratitude for all who have served in the armed forces, and I want to thank you. And no place in DeKalb County is it done any better because we have the DeKalb County Veterans Advisory Board, and they are a first-class group of individuals who care about the rights and protections of our veterans, who really make it easy for me to do the right thing as DeKalb County CEO because they let me know the right things that are to be done for our veterans. And so I want to thank all of our veterans who are here today. See you here in the audience. I want to thank you for being present among us. I want to thank, again, Reverend Williams and Sergeant Major Smalls, who you'll hear from shortly, for being in the forefront and the leadership of our Veteran Affairs Advisory Board and have been there for some time. I want to recognize some of our distinguished officials who are here in no particular order, just in the order I see them. Clarkston Mayor Emmanuel Ransom, who I believe is a veteran yourself, and thank you for being here, and who shows up. You were at our Memorial Day service yesterday for our fallen police officers, so thank you for being here again. County Commissioner Kathy Gannon, who's always in the forefront of leadership on the County Board of Commissioners. Thank you, Kathy, for being here. Superior Court Clerk Deborah DeBerry, who cares deeply about the needs of the citizens who come before the judicial system. And I get the calls when we're not doing the right things on the administrative side. So thank you, Deborah, for your service. Our Solicitor General, Sherry Boston, thank you for helping to keep DeKalb County safe and for all you do and the way you care. I remember seeing you at the police officers' ball this year. and being with the young girl who had been victimized. Just thank you for caring, and thank you for what you bring to DeKalb County, your nurturing spirit. And thank you to our Public Safety Director, William Wiz Miller, the Wiz of Public Safety. You heard of the Wizard of Oz. He's the Wizard of Public Safety here in DeKalb County. So thank you for being here. And our Chief of Police is, I think I saw William O'Brien. Stand up, Chief O'Brien. I don't know why you're in the back. You might have to duck out. Well, we thank you for spending a few moments with us today. And Judge Dax Lopez, I see you there. Thank you for coming out as well. Thank you to all of our guests and our distinguished officials and friends, and of course, first and foremost, our veterans. It's an honor to be here today as we commemorate Memorial Day. Remember our veterans for the fine work they do and the services they've rendered to secure our freedom here at home as well as abroad. I want to thank each of you who have joined us today as we pay special tribute to our veterans. I'd also like to recognize our speaker of the day, Sergeant Major James Murrin, and you will be hearing from him shortly, but I want you to know that Sergeant Major Murrin's service to our country is extensive, some of which includes time in the Massachusetts National Guard, the Army National Guard, and the U.S. Army Reserve. Mr. Murrin has also received numerous awards and decorations ranging from the Legion of Merit to the Military Intelligence Corps Knowlton Award. Thank you, Sergeant Major Murrin, for joining us today to pay tribute to our veterans and recognize active military members across our community. And you'll get a proper introduction shortly from Brother Smalls. I've recognized, and I want to recognize again, Reverend Dr. Wayman Dwayne Williams, the chairman of the Veteran Affairs Advisory Board of DeKalb County, Georgia, and all of the members of that board for ensuring that the voices of our veterans are heard and their needs are continuously met. On Monday, as you all know, you'll be off of work, mostly. Our nation, as well as DeKalb County, will observe the Memorial Day holiday. From the first Decoration Day ceremonies in the late 1800s that set aside a time for our nation to decorate the graves of those we lost in the Civil War, to the modern day community-wide celebrations that honor our heroes from every American war, our Memorial Day commemoration illustrates a timeless tradition of remembering men and women in uniform and paying tribute to those who lost their lives fighting for the freedoms we all hold dear today. As we honor those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in securing our freedoms, it is equally important that we remember the soldiers, those who served, who made it back home. Because it is through their lives, their stories, their actions, their heroic contributions to communities across our nation that we will preserve a standing legacy of bravery, faith, and selfless service for generations of Americans. To our veterans and active service men and women, each one of us here today can think of hundreds of ways to honor you for your unwavering service to our country, and all would end with the words, thank you. Thank you for putting your lives on the line to preserve the safety of our nation. And thank you for sacrificing time spent with your own loved ones and families to protect the liberties and freedoms each of our families enjoy today. In closing, I'm reminded of the words from Decoration Day, a poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And it reads as follows: Sleep, comrades, sleep and rest, on this field of the grounded arms, where foes no more molest, nor sentries shock alarms. Ye have slept on the ground before, and started to your feet, at the cannon's sudden roar, or the drum's redoubling beat. But in this camp of death, no sounds your slumber breaks. Here is no fevered breath, no wound that bleeds and aches. All is repose and peace. Untrampled lies the sod. The shouts of battle cease. It is the truce, God. Rest, comrades, rest and sleep. The thoughts of men shall be as sentinels to keep your rest from danger free. Your silent tents of green we deck with fragrant flowers. Yours has the suffering been. The memory shall be ours. Today, as we stand united as a community, we are committed to honor the veterans in our county and across our nation for their selfless and courageous service to our country and ensure the memory of our veterans shall forever be ours. God bless DeKalb County. God bless each of you. And may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you very much.
We would like to, at this time, thank the CEO for those remarks, and especially for the poem. Every time I hear him speak, he always says something different, but it's always meaningful. So, sir, again, thank you for those remarks. At this time, we will have the introduction of our guest speaker by Command Sergeant Major retired Jonathan Smalls. He's the commander of Post 91, Disabled American Veterans. And then you will hear from our guest speaker today, none other than Mr. James Murrin, Jr.
Good morning. Poor? Come on now, let's get motivated. This is Veterans Day. It's such an honor to introduce our guest speaker today. Being a Command Sergeant Major, active, Command Sergeant Major, retired. We're not in the past yet. We're still doing a lot of things for veterans. But it's such an honor to be able to introduce our guest speaker today. Our guest speaker today is Command Sergeant Major Murrin, was born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts. He began his military career in June 1977, enlisting in the United States Army. Sergeant Major Murrin was honorably discharged with the Army after 3 years of immediately joined the Massachusetts National Guard and served in the Army Reserve National Guard for 8 years before transferring to the U.S. Army Reserve. He has held many leadership positions in his career. He's a graduate of the United States Army Sergeant Major Academy, class of 1998. He also has an associate degree in electronic technology from Quincy College, a bachelor's degree in techno management and master's degree in business administration from Southern New Hampshire University. His military and awards and decorations include the Legion of Merit, the Bronze Star, the Meritorious Service Medal, the Army Commendation Medal, and the Army Achievement Medal, and many, many other medals and decorations. Command Sergeant Murrin lives in Atlanta and has 4 children, James, Oliver, Felicia, and Timothy. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a warm welcome to our guest speaker today, Sergeant Major James Murrin.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Good job. Good morning, everyone. It's my great honor and pleasure to be here today, and I would like to thank Mr. Ellis, Dr. Williams, Dr. Lynch, Sergeant Major Smalls for having me here. It's a great day to be an American. It's a great day to remember those who have gone before us. So residents, veterans, elected officials at DeKalb County, citizens, it's a great honor to be here again. For many Americans, Memorial Day is a welcome break from work. An extra day to spend at the beach, attend backyard cookouts, watch sporting events, and just relax at home. But to others, Memorial Day is an occasion to reflect, remember, and honor all those who have served and sacrificed in defense of our nation. I challenge you to look inside your hearts to find the true meaning of the word memorial. What is a memorial but a fitting tribute intended to pause to celebrate the memory and honor of a person? And how shall we celebrate the men and women who dedicated their lives to the cultivation and harvest of the most precious crop known to man, freedom? Should we hang our heads and cry? Should we be quiet and reserved? Or should we proclaim and publicly praise their sacrifices by making our respect and rejoice in their service widely known to all? I suspect that tears will drop. The quiet reflection will happen, and the public praise will be heard from every village, hamlet, city, and town across our great country this weekend. Memorial Day transcends military accomplishments and decorations earned on the field of battle. It is a day of reflection on the sacrifices made by heroes past and present in the defense of our nation and for the sake of freedom. I submit that it isn't necessary to have personally known any of our fallen warriors to feel sorrow that accompanied their loss. You see, citizens of our great country came from many walks of life, and we are indeed a great mosaic of people and cultures. But what unites us is the fact that we all are so thankful to these great Americans who voluntarily took an oath to defend our Constitution and were willing to serve in far-off and dangerous places. They all shared the same military values and warrior ethos. They recognized the ominous challenges that were ahead in their uncertain future, yet they stood together, tall, proud, and steadfast in their purpose. They vowed to protect our families and our nation at all costs. As soldiers, we are taught in very early stages of our careers to overcome adversity, to persevere, that the whole is greater than the one. And though every soldier's life is of utmost value, when there is a gap in the formation, regardless of rank, skill, or status, we are taught to cover down and continue to march. It is, however, impossible to replace a father or mother, a brother or sister, a son or daughter, a best friend. Our fallen comrades were these and much more. They were dedicated soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who loved their profession and served their nation selflessly. Today is not just a day for remembrance. It is a day to celebrate the very ideals that our brothers and sisters who died in defense of our nation vowed to protect. We are celebrating the fond memories, the camaraderie, and the tremendous value they added to our lives. Today, we are blessed with the opportunity to reflect on their accomplishments. We have a chance to move forward with purpose and commitment to each other and to something beyond ourselves. As always, remember, the decisions we make and the values we choose to live by do indeed matter. They clearly matter to those who have gone before us, and I hope they matter to everyone here today. Memorial Day grew from a Civil War tradition of women's groups gathering each year to decorate the graves of those whose lives were lost during that bloody conflict. But just 20 years later, one of its veterans, and later a Supreme Court Justice, Oliver Wendell Holmes, noted that some wondered why the holiday was still observed. Even after the wounds had healed, the tattered flags of our regiments had gathered dust, he argued remembrance was not only relevant, but a duty to the fallen. This weekend, military support groups, veterans associations, state, county, and local officials, as well as everyday Americans, make sure that we pay tribute to those who have served and sacrificed. By honoring our men and women in uniform and remembering those who paid the ultimate price, we continue the tradition started long ago. We should also not forget the family members of those servicemen and women who sacrificed everything. Their loss is etched in the reality of a missing loved one every day of the year. For them, all days are Memorial Day. To those who have lost family and friends in the defense of our country, please take some comfort in knowing that you will always be part of the military family, and you are in our thoughts and prayers. While Memorial Day is a special holiday set aside to reflect on the service of our armed forces, it should by no means be the only day of the year in which we keep our servicemen and women in our hearts and minds. We should think about their sacrifices every day. We should recognize that this generation, like past generations, is serving in combat zones and keeping watch in faraway lands. Those who serve are certainly a special group. These brave men and women answered their nation's call to defeat tyranny, ensure justice, and give hope of freedom to people in faraway lands. Some gave their lives, not as part of a war of conquest or aggression, but in bringing the hope of a better life to those less fortunate to us. We must celebrate all service members' courage, honor, integrity on this day and every day. Those saddened by the loss of our military colleagues, we must join in our hearts in the celebration of life, a life of freedom owed to the bravery of generations of service members who answered the call when their country needed them most. A thankful nation remembers. General George S. Patton said, "It is foolish and wrong to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God that such men lived." It is in that spirit that I urge everyone here today to take time this weekend to reflect on and celebrate life. Our own life, lives of those who are close to us, and those who have gone before us. Reach out to them, let them know how much they're appreciated. It's been a great pleasure for me to be here. I want to thank you all for being here and for all you do. I want to wish you all an enjoyable weekend.
Okay, we're going to ask that Mr. Harris, Elder William Harris, Vice Chair of the DeKalb County Veterans Advisory Board, come forth. We have some presentations. But before he come, I just want to honor all of our veteran service organizations. Would y'all just stand up so we can give you a hand for all that you do for the service of veterans? Thank you so much. Also would like to honor the past chairs of the advisory board. If you would stand, Ray Jones, Jonathan Smalls, and if there are any other past chairs. Thank you for your service that you've provided in DeKalb County and to the citizens of DeKalb County. At this time, we have special presentations, and at this time, we're going to ask Mr. Harris, our vice chair, to come at this time.
Good morning. I see we have a lot of special guests this morning. We have a Tuskegee Airman among us this morning. Mr. Val Archer is among us. I'd just like everybody to recognize and give him a hand this morning. Good morning. You've heard the outstanding achievements of Command Sergeant Major Murrin. The Veterans Affairs Advisory Board of DeKalb County would like to give you a token of our appreciation for your outstanding leadership and your accomplishments in the U.S. military. We also have 2 more awards for other distinguished veterans that's among us this morning. Distinguished veteran Sergeant Major Scarlett B. Williams, U.S. Army retired. Sergeant Major Williams has been a dedicated community volunteer in DeKalb County for many years. As a member of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, the Federal Women's Organization, and the Freemasons of the world, she continually are called upon for her efforts in mentoring women all over the United States. She has helped the homeless and challenged people in many organizations. She completed a distinguished 35-year military career, culminating as the Deputy Chief of Staff G1 Sergeant Major in the U.S. Armed Forces Command, a position she held ending in 2011. Her awards decorations are numerous. We don't have quite time to name them all, but just for a few, she received the Legion of Merit and also the Kuwait Liberation Medal. She's a proud mother of an adult daughter, Aquanette, who resides in DeKalb County. Sergeant Major Williams. Our next distinguished veteran, Machinist Mate Senior Chief Joseph Gullery, Navy retired. Senior Chief Gullery has been instrumental in the lives of hundreds of DeKalb men and women since 1996. As a naval service instructor at the Lithonia High School, where he will be retiring again this year. During his tenure, 50 cadets received Naval Officers Corps scholarships and various other organizations. The Lithonia High School Junior ROTC program achieved the Distinguished Unit Award 12 out of 13 years. That distinction is achieved only by 10% of all Navy Junior ROTC programs. Sergeant Gullery, Machinist Mate Senior Gullery came to the DeKalb County School in 1996, where they had 80 cadets. By 1999, they had over 150. Before his career at the Lithonia High School, Senior Chief Gullery completed a distinguished 21 years military career in the Navy. He distinguished himself in many career areas. His training brought these young men to leadership in the community. He's a senior chief in his organization. Senior Chief Gullery is happily married to the former Ruby E. Lewis since July of 1976. Senior Chief.
Okay, we're going to bring the CEO back, but before then, we want to recognize the Lou Walker Senior Citizen Centers for their ushers. Yes, they have been here undoubtedly for the last several years that I've been here. Thank you for your dedicated service to DeKalb County. This time, we're going to bring the CEO up again.
Thank you very much, and also thank you again to our Lou Walker Center volunteers. Thank you. Always look good in your uniforms. We've been joined by U.S. Congressman Hank Johnson, and I want to recognize him for his service also to our nation. I want to recognize him for being a friend. Hank and I started our public service careers together right here on this stage at the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners. And I want to invite you, Congressman Johnson, to come up and share. I've never known you to be without words. Okay, come on.
Hello, everybody. They usually say when I start talking, they start looking at your clocks. So I'm not going to take that much time today, but I will say that behalf of, I'm sure, the 534 other representatives, senators, Washington, D.C., have been blessed with the opportunity to represent citizens in the highest legislative arena world, the greatest, which veterans have protected for us, not just for the senators and representatives, but for the people that we represent, citizens of the United States. I want to say, well done. Thank you for your service. This is a day that we memorialize those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in their duty to this country, which they voluntarily carried out, and gave their lives for. So we want to thank those who are not with us today as well. Thank you very much for all that you do. Very happy, Mr. CEO, to be here once again as the county honors you, our veterans. Just as the CEO supports you, I support you too. Thank y'all so much.
As we draw to a close, we're going to ask all veterans to stand, or even if you're still serving, let's stand. Let's thank you for serving. Every branch. Now we will have the laying of the wreath led by Sergeant First Class retired Franklin Henderson, United States Army, and he was able to get us people to represent every branch of the armed services. So we thank you for that at this time. Would everybody please stand? We're going to ask you to remain standing as we bring forth DeKalb High School JROTC to retrieve the colors at this time. That will be followed by the benediction of our chairman, Wayman Williams.
Everyone bow your head. God, we thank you. We thank you for the gathering of friends, of family, of community, of government leaders, of business, one DeKalb. We thank you, God, and we ask you that you give us peace as we go, that you give us traveling mercy, and that you bring us back together again at some other point to work together for a greater community. These things we asked in your name. Amen.
Thank you for attending. Greet someone. We have refreshments for your partaking. Have a great, great Memorial Day.